We're gonna do a chicken eating chicken video, and they all come. So do a time lapse. We got a lot of people saying it's really weird. Chickens don't eat chicken, all that stuff. So stay tuned. We'll see how this goes. One thing I'm worried about is they're gonna get this out of this tray and then drag it off out of camera view, but we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned.
I told me, love me people, why me make this tune? And me know it might not play up on Sunday afternoon. Even if you not give up anytime soon, don't make them give you chemical for your food. Me always ask me brethren, what's stopping you turning vegetarian? Hear them now? For the chicken. Them say them go and miss the chicken. Them always tell me about the chicken. I wonder what in the chicken, Lord. You want me to say to them, Chuck, what if the chicken doing the sicking? Would it still be kicking? Would you still find it finger licking? Me ask me brethren, are you willing to give up the chicken? Him say, boy, the chicken have to kill him.
We're tired of hungry customers.
How you gonna say you got chicken and you ain't got no chicken? You knew y'all was gonna do this for a year. How am I supposed to feed my family now? I want my chicken. My babies want their chicken.
Me tell him about the water them using at the filling, the chemicals, the antibiotics and penicillin. Nothing information me bringing, him here started ringing. Him say from him my youth him mama give him. Him stop the pork, him said that was nothing. Him easy stop the beef and him easy stop the mutton. Him stop the goat like pressing a button, but him find that the chicken was a different something chop.
I would like to have, and before I even finish my sentence, he says, the chicken. I could not believe it. Could not believe that.
Say him no craving, him no say him no glutton, but him eat it so much him even take it make pudding, and him try to go stop but him couldn't.
Chicken is too pain, I'm telling you.
Him start to get withdrawal symptoms all of a sudden of the chicken. I wonder what in the chicken. Make them can't stop the chicken. Them also tell me about the chicken, Lord. Chua. White meat, them think it's okay. I know some people eat the chicken every day. They love the taste, that is what they say. But it's not really the chicken, make it taste that way. Chop make we go down in the reasoning. I know the chicken at the vegetable seasoning. Without the veggie, you'd never ever feed on him. You eat it raw and it's a thing you never eat again. Cause them your chicken nowadays is not the chicken of old. Them the chicken of old was called common fowl. From the day that they match until the day they sold. Them they nowadays chicken only 7 weeks old like the chicken. Them say them go and miss the chicken. Them always tell me about the chicken. I wonder what in the chicken, Lord. Yeah, you me? Sure. People getting infections, them find them can't cure. Cause some of the antibiotics, them don't work anymore. They put them in the chicken, they make them get fat. Bacteria get resistant when you have too much of that. Put in a little arsenic to make it look pink. Put in some ammonia to make it stop stink. You know, say that the chick is not as healthy as you think. Between some diseases, they say there is a link. The bacteria, do you remember bird flu? Tuberculosis and the salmonella too. So don't make the system come and fool you. Better you know what you are doing with the chicken. Then say then go and miss the chicken. I wonder what in the chicken. Make them can't stop the chicken, Lord. I told me, love me people, why me make this tune? And me know it might not play up on Sunday afternoon. Even if you not give up anytime soon, don't make them give you chemical for your food like the chicken. Them also tell me about the chicken. I wonder why not the chicken. Make them can't stop the chicken, Lord.
Look at him. He loves it. Just like it said in the encyclopedia. Look how happy he looks.
Black people that I know love chicken, which it just, there is this correlation between it that there's, I don't know, there's a stereotype, but it's not, it is true, but I don't know, it's just.
This is the one that eat dead animals. This is what you call a vulture. And those who aren't familiar with so-called turkey, here you go. This is the one that our enemies say we should eat for Thanksgiving. Now we have the black vulture, the king vulture, the griffin vulture, and the turkey vulture. Why do we have a turkey vulture? Obviously, somebody couldn't turn a blind eye to the striking resemblance of both. If a young person fall down beside one of these turkey that you eat, what you call turkey, this thing would tear them to pieces just like a normal vulture would, because it is naturally in the turkey DNA, because it's a vulture.
That's one with the mouse. Oh, I just ate it. That one right there, just ate it. Just ate the mouse. Is that cool or what?
We've discovered under a box a nest of baby mice. This chicken is trying to eat one. These are the baby mice. This rooster is investigating. Here comes the chicken with the mouse.
Who can eat more than 2 eggs?
Diabetes is quite prone in a lot of black families, so we prefer to avoid oil heavy and fatty meats, like you said, beef, lamb, whatever. So chicken's like the go-to.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the scientific classification. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the scientific classification. That's its only family, okay? It doesn't have these 3 families. So that's how you know that the chicken isn't related to the vulture, okay? So that's how you know that the chicken isn't related to the vulture, okay?
And another thing, it doesn't matter what science says, or scoffers, right? 4,000 years ago when the Most High gave his laws to our father Moses, how do you think Moses knew what kind was of the same kind? Yeah? He most definitely used his eyes. Yeah? If it looks like a spade, it is a spade. If he walks and quack like a duck, it's a duck. Simple as that. It's pretty clear that a turkey and a vulture is related.
King James. The name chicken is mentioned in the Ezra and in the book of, according to Matthew. We know we have to, it says, prove all things. So we're going to prove these things. Now, the stereotype of the African American and chicken has been going through for many years, at least 120 years. We have been in love with this bird, and others have used it, depicted us as just associated with chicken and also watermelon.
Look at him. He loves it.
So the chicken is the red jungle fowl. It's originally from Asia, 3,200 years ago, 3,200 BC. Modern day chicken is a hybrid fowl. It's domesticated and fattened for food. The modern day chicken is hybrid. We've been portrayed as peoples who are gluttonous, according to other nations, and we're depicted in many shows, especially there's a movie called Birth of a Nation, where they depict many African Americans biting to chicken and other things of that nature. The movies are made in 1915. You can see this movie, the title of the cover. In Proverbs chapter 28, verse 36, it says, my people shall be cursed, as in Deuteronomy. In this video, you'll see that they are depicted in the movie called Undercover Brother. How chicken is so used, the chicken is so used that our brothers and sisters have become accustomed.
I want you to buy my new fried chicken, that is. Sure enough. I used to work for the Pentagon. Now I help you to get your chicken on. And for a limited time only, order an 8-piece
nappy meal and get a 32-ounce malt liquor absolutely free.
You be buying, please be frying. General Chicken, the best chicken in the leg wraps and thighs, sweet potato pie, General Fried Chicken, General Fried Chicken is for chicken. General Fried, you know it tastes so good.
Introducing the Nappy Meal from GFC. This chicken is the bomb. At the General's, we do chicken right on.
You look at that. The General's lost his damn mind. Making a fool out of himself over this crap.
General Fried Chicken. I was in Mississippi. I was in Mississippi doing a show, and I go to a restaurant to order some food, and I say to the guy, I say, I would like to have, and before I even finish my sentence, he says, the chicken.
There are faces that have made with us, big lips and teeth, and with the expression of just a gluttonous expression that's coming from us. They've made posters associating us with chicken, Chicken George from Roots, Deuteronomy 28 verse 37 again. We love the bird so much, and the love continues. Our president, the king, is tearing into this bird, even thinking what harm can be done with us. Some say just eat and pray over it. Pray over it and eat. In Job chapter 14 verse 4, who can make unclean clean? No one. Chicken breast is full of fat, and it causes problems on your body. The Most High do not want us to eat fats, as he says. He says, learn not the ways of the heathen. Do not follow the ways of the heathen. Leviticus 11 has the laws, and in that chapter 11, it will describe the clean and unclean flesh. That is not the dietary law, but the clean law of clean and unclean. We have the nighthawk. We have the salmon, herbivore. We have the shrimp, which is unclean animals, a sea roach. We have the fish with fins and scales, tilapia, in its natural environment. That is a clean fish. It must have fins and scales. In Leviticus chapter 11, verse 9. We have a list of unclean foods on the laws in Deuteronomy 14, verse 3 to 20. So we'll be able to see as we read which animals are clean, which animals are unclean. The laws have been put there for our health and our safety. So we must stick to what is given to us as a guideline for us. Leviticus 11, we're going to start at Leviticus 11 verse 13. It says, and these are they which you shall have an abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind, verse 16, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, verse 18, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gyre eagle, verse 19, and the stork, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. Verse 20, all fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. Now this is where we will determine what is clean as a bird and unclean. Going up on all fours, we're going to explain what going up on all fours is saying. The red jungle fowl, known as the Galias, is one of the species of modern-day chicken, originated from Southeast Asia in about 3200 BC. Our modern-day chicken comes from that species of a jungle fowl, also known as the Gallus. It was a hybrid bird put together from two different birds as a domesticated fowl for food. It did not happen naturally through nature. Nature did not create that bird. This bird eats worms, insects, grains, and anything you put in front of it. It is what we call an omnivore. Omni means all. He eats anything. Modern day, we call that, the slaves call that the jungle fowl. What we call the jungle fowl, we call it the yard bird. The etymology of the word chicken, the name chicken, comes from the Old English. Cicern means a young fowl, and also in the Middle English, it was called a young chicken. So today, the word chick hen means a young hen. The male chicken, aka rooster, he is a walking fowl. The modern-day chicken, his ancestors, is the Gallus fowl. Turkey is another family of the chicken. He is an omnivore. He walks, Leviticus 11:20. Chicken, the young fowl, continues in our culture. This is part of our culture. And we also call it a cock and a crow, like the rooster. Remember, this is just modern-day terminology of the word fowl. Again, chicken do not fly. So he has to lay their eggs on the ground, as referenced in Job chapter 39, verse 13. Job 39, verse 13 reads, "Gaveth you the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leave her eggs in the earth, and warm them in the dust, and forget that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear, because the Most High has deprived her of wisdom, neither has he imparted to her understanding." So they cannot, as we see, they cannot fly. They have to bury their eggs in the ground. All walking birds bury their eggs in the ground. Here's another example of another bird that flies that's unclean. In Job chapter 39, verse 26, "Do the hawk fly by his wisdom, and stretch her wings towards the south? Do the eagle mount up at thy command, and make her nest on high?" Because they fly and put their eggs up in the clefts of the rock. And I'll read, continue verse 28. "She dwell and abide on the rock, upon the crag of the rock, and the strong place. From thence she seek the prey, and her eyes behold afar off. Her young ones also suck up blood, and where the slain are, there is she." And it's telling you that they are the type of eaters they are. They're what we call carnivore, flesh eaters. We use the Strong's Concordance for referencing the Hebrew meaning of the words that we find in the English Bible, King James example that we are using. For example, the word fowl, Strong's number 5775. In Hebrew, the English spelling is O-P-H. And that word, oath, O-P-H, its meaning, it means to fly, flying creatures. Flying creatures is what this particular word means. And examples of this are bird that flies, flying fowl. So these is the example of that word that's being given to us from the Hebrew. Another Strong's number is Strong's number 702. English Hebrew spelling is A-R-B-A-R-B-A, meaning flying fowl bird. So, you know, examples of flying birds: turtle dove, pigeons, hawk, raven. These are birds that fly. Feet, Strong's number 7272. Hebrew English spelling is regal, meaning foot. Leviticus 11 verse 20. "All fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you." So the word for and feet is 7272. It just means foot, because fowls do not have 4 feet. It's talking about foot. If you look at their foot, they have 3 front grippers or toes and 1 in the back. They have 4. That's what it's mentioning. That's what it's talking about. He's a walker. The chicken, the ostrich, the rhea, the dodo bird, the emu, penguin, these all have the same type of feet. Leviticus chapter 11, verse 20 says, "All fowls that creep." Now the word creep, Strong's number 8318, 8318, the Hebrew word is sheretz, meaning creeping, moving. And the word, it means to move or to walk. So these walking birds, what they do is move. The word creeping means to move. Here's an example of what creeping is. Here we go to Leviticus chapter 11, verse 29. Leviticus 11, verse 29, for an example of what creeping means to walk. It says, "These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel, the mouse, and the tortoise, after his kind, the ferret, the camelon, the lizard, the snail, and the mole." That's an example of things that creep or walk or move. So we see so far that the dove, the attributes of the dove is going to be a little different than the attributes of a chicken or a raven, because the dove have two attributes that make him clean. How do we know what's a clean fowl? We can offer up clean fowls unto the Most High. Let's see what determines a clean fowl. Leviticus chapter 1, verse 14. Leviticus chapter 1, verse 14 says, "And if the burnt sacrifice for his offering to the Most High be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or of young pigeons." You may ask, what are the attributes of a young dove or pigeon? The attributes are these two. One, they fly, and the other, that they are herbivores. They are not omnivores, they are herbivores. Now, even though these birds are clean, many of us would not eat a young pigeon, but we would eat a quail. So quail, as is in the book of Numbers that flew in, those birds are clean birds. The attributes of a clean bird, again, it must fly, and it must be only an herbivore. And the Most High gave the children of Israel quail while they're in the wilderness, when they were hungry, while they desired flesh. In the book of Numbers, chapter 11, verse 31, this is an example of clean birds that the Father gave the children of Israel while they're in the wilderness, while they craved flesh. It says, "And there went forth a wind from the Most High, and brought quails from the sea, and let them fall by the camp, as it were a day's journey on the side, and as it were a day's journey on the other side, round about the camp, as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth. And the people stood up all that day, and all that night, and all the next day, and they gathered the quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 homers." So the quail has the attributes of a clean bird. The Father would not give his children defiled flesh. Now the pigeons in the hood, or wherever you are, if they only knew that you know now that they could be eaten, they wouldn't be hanging around. They wouldn't be hanging around. There is a facial difference. The beaks on the herbivores are straight, where the beaks on the omnivores are a little rounded, so they can pick up like on their face. That beak is hooked. A woodchucker, his beak is straight. For example, chucking wood. It's just an example. I'm not saying you can eat a woodchuck. Here is a visual example of a young edible bird, fowl, eating grains. Again, you have to have the attributes of a clean bird. Clean birds eating herbs. All clean birds eat herbs. Where did Noah get this law of understanding? Even before the laws were given to the Israelites in the wilderness, the law says in Genesis chapter 7, verse 2 to verse 5, it says, "Of every clean beast you shall take to thee by 7 the male and his female, and the beasts that are not clean by 2 the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by 7 the male and her female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and it will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from thence the face of the earth." And Noah did according to all that the Most High commanded him. So again, we know the peacock is a walking bird, beautiful bird, but he's a walker. I've heard people tell me that they've seen the peacock fly, but a peacock cannot sustain flight. Peacock cannot sustain flight. Hope this lesson have been clear to you, to show you the difference between clean and unclean fowls, as in Leviticus 11 verse 20. All fowls that creep, that go on all four, is unclean, and it's an abomination unto you. Shalom.
Yo!